opened the door for new economy.
President Tinubu signs historic 2025 tax reform bills, ushers in fiscal reinvention.
I charge all public service leaders and stakeholders to return to their institutions with renewed determination.
Workers' welfare takes center stage at first International Civil Service Conference in Abuja.
Currently, all proceeds of crime must be paid into the confiscated and forfeited properties account.
Plus, temporary setback for NDLEA overhaul as controversial amendment bill returns to National Assembly. Good evening and welcome to NTA Network News. I am Jumwa Yusuf. Tonight, we will be joining Adeola Kamiakere in Lagos for some news from that axis. And Benny Adams is also in hand, and he'll be bringing us more than the usual business news. And for sports update, Francisca Bele is on ground. She'll join us later in the course of the bulletin. Do remember you can watch this newscast live and on the go on any of our social media platforms displayed on the screen. Now let's go straight to tonight's survey, and we are focusing on investment and the economy. As you know, strategic investment is key to overcoming Nigeria's current economic challenges and laying a foundation for sustainable growth. As we move through 2025, identifying national priorities is crucial. Tonight, as always on Thursdays, we are asking you to weigh in on where you think public investment by the government should be concentrated in the coming months. Our poll question is, which sector do you think the government should prioritize investment in the remaining quarters of 2025? We want you to consider the following critical sectors: infrastructure development, agriculture, food security, education, human capital, energy and power, and lastly, healthcare and social services. Choose the area you believe demands the most urgent and strategic investment right now by scanning the QR code, clicking on the link and voting your choice. Let's know what you think. Now let's get the news. The federal government's quest towards reinforcing the fiscal foundation of the country has achieved a significant milestone as 4 tax reform bills have been signed into law, harmonizing the entire tax system in the country. State House correspondent Musbau Dan Wahab reports that President Bola Tinubu signed the tax bills at the State House.
Another bold step from a dogged leader coming to the Rubicon. After about 8 months of undergoing legislative processes, the bill to revise, harmonize and modernize Nigeria's tax system is back before the President for the final approval. The bill encompasses Nigeria Tax Bill, Nigeria Tax Administration Bill, Joint Revenue Board Establishment Bill, and Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill. Presented to the National Assembly October last year, now President Tinubu is following it to a logical conclusion.
We are in transit. We have changed the road. We have changed some of the misgivings. We have opened the door for new economy, business opportunity. We are showing that Nigeria is truly, truly ready and open for business. Easy in, easy out.
For the President, his commitment is about taking the right decisions in the interest of Nigeria and Nigerians, regardless of how tough they might be.
Leadership must help the people to take off. Lead the way on every turn, twist, and turns of the road. Must help them to get to their destination. That is what we are doing here. To the National Assembly, I say thank you for providing that leadership.
Here again, you have harmonized the entire tax system in this country. Stamp Duties Act, I think it was in 1901, but last reviewed in 1939. And here we are, year 2025. We're still operating on even taxes and laws on taxation that were here before the colonial masters left. They were all incorporated into our laws. And you said this cannot be allowed to continue. Nigeria must be modernized. And modernizing the tax system means bringing more money for the development of the country.
In a few months, Nigeria will continue to commend you for your courage, dedication.
This is the third major reform that the president has embarked on. The first was the removal of oil subsidy, and the second was the liberalization of the exchange rate mechanism. This tax bill will be a major game changer. Now, as we go ahead, the onus is on us to be able to disseminate information on what is in the tax bill, explaining it in different languages so that the ordinary man can understand.
The new law is expected to transform tax administration in the country, increase revenue generation, improve business environments, and boost domestic and foreign investments when it becomes fully operational. From the State House, Muspal Nanwahab, NTA News.
And as a matter of fact, taxation in Nigeria isn't a modern invention. Its roots stretch deep into Nigeria's pre-colonial past, evolving through distinct eras. Now let's bring in Benny Adams to give us some historical context to this discuss. Benny?
Thank you, Juma, for that brief introduction. There is need for us to start from where we were before now to the new vista of hope, where the Senate President there said, this is the time for more money for Nigeria. It is very instrumental for us to know from the colonial eras, from the 1900 to the 1960s. We had about 3 key reforms, which was about the Land Revenue Proclamation of 1904, which was practiced in the Northern Protectorate as of that time. Then the Native Revenue Proclamation of 1906 was practiced by other regions. Then we have the Income Tax Ordinance of 1940, which was for both companies and individuals. The colonialists at that point realized that there was need to tax workers, there was need to tax the companies. They were just springing up. What were the drivers? It was to fund colonial administration, maintain law and order, as well as extract some resources for the running of government, just like it is being practiced today. The impact was that they introduced modern tax concepts. It was a centralized system for future legislation. Afterwards, we now moved from the colonial era to the post-colonial era, where we saw introduction of tax identification numbers. We had new reforms coming in from time to time. Yes, here it was about the land, it was about native authority, but the new tax regime brought about technology in the sense that there was a personal income tax introduction. Other frameworks for the system was also established. Like, remember, economic shifts, declining oil prices forced the hand, and the Federal Inland Revenue actually came into existence in 1993, a critical value to driving the system. Aside the FIRS, we also had the VAT Act of 1993, which brought about a shift from indirect taxation, to direct taxation. And the key drivers were basically declining oil prices. Remember, before this period, we had the oil boom in the mid-70s. Nigeria had no problem with revenues to run a government at that time. Then it also ushered in the diversification of revenue sources and also improved collection efficiency. Then looking at the impacts at that time, the VAT actually boosted non-oil revenues, as well as FIRS gained autonomy to actually exercise their duties as mandated at that time. Then after that time, yes, introduction of technology came from one point to the other, to now the renewed hope, where today we're witnessing landmark decisions. Fast forward to what the president just said. It is that time that taxes are being harmonized, not just harmonized, it is a promise made, a promise kept about not taxing the labor, but taxing the fruits at that time. Yes, talking about technology that was introduced, talking about reforms using technology integration. We had the tax identification number, which is the TIN. Then we had also the Finance Act. Finance Act actually came before this present proposal proposal to review these bills. The Finance Act were tools that were used to amend existing laws. Government used this act to actually bring in one form of tax to the other. I remember the last one that came before the abolition of that was the fact that digital spaces needed to be taxed. Then after that, the drivers basically was to address tax evasion, encourage compliance, increase revenue amid volatility. Tech was also the key thing, the key driver in that whole process. For today, talking about the renewed hope agenda, the renewed hope reforms, we're talking about ease of doing business, a uniform legal and operational framework for tax administration. We have also independent National Revenue Agency whose mandate includes non-tax revenue collection. That is the former FRS. That has changed as of today. Then we're talking about it's aimed at encouraging transparency, accountability, and efficiency. The key drivers of this reform at this time, as we are meant to understand, is to reduce multiplicity and also ensuring ease of doing business, and also enhance efficiency across a board. The impact possibly is improve investment climate, eliminate overlapping regulations, grow the economy faster than it is today. Well, it's not for me to tell us all of it. We have an expert in the studio. Jumai, I understand you have Taiwo Oyedele beside you at this time.
Indeed, Benny, I have Taiwo Oyedele here to sort of explain to us the tax laws and the anticipated impacts. Now, let's bring in the Chairman, Presidential Committee on Fiscal and Tax Reforms, Taiwo Oyedele. Thank you so much for joining us on Network News.
Thank you for having me.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Now let's begin. Can you walk us through the new tax laws, how it effectively addresses the perennial challenges of multiple taxation, corruption, and the inefficient tax administration that have plagued Nigeria's law system? How excited should low, small, and medium businesses be at this point? What are the guarantees that the new tax regime would not throw up new complexities and bureaucratic hurdles for taxpayers? We all know that people are beginning to understand that paying your tax matters in this country.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think I would say congratulations to all Nigerians for these landmark achievements today. We know it's the beginning of a process, setting the foundation. But that foundation is just as important, if not more important, than what we build on it. The tax regime that we've operated for decades are mostly the ones we inherited from our colonial masters. Many of them are no longer fit for purpose. They do not address current and modern realities that we face as a people. And to that extent, they become like impediment to our growth and our prosperity. And it's important for that to be addressed. So what these new tax laws have done is to first identify the laws that are no longer relevant, the ones that are relevant and the ones that we need that we do not have, put them together in a harmonized manner, and they were coded into 4 tax laws. The major one being the Nigerian Tax Act, which is the tax law that's trying to achieve equity and fairness by ensuring that we're not taxing our poorest people, we're not putting too much burden, especially on small businesses, and ensuring that the ease of compliance and ease of doing business is enhanced, while at the same time generating revenue for the government. Small businesses, low-income earners should be very excited, and everybody else should be excited, because I say that because the low-income earners, the small business owners, are the biggest beneficiaries of the reforms, including workers. Many of them, once these laws are implemented, the commencement date for implementation, or effective date, I should say, is January 2026. That's because the scale of the reform requires that we prepare and that we get it right. And your point about, won't this throw up some other challenges? We want to limit those challenges that are likely to come up. There's no guarantee that everything will be 100% smooth, but if we prepare very well and we're diligent enough, issuing guidelines, regulations, public notices, explanatory notes, explainers, even in different languages, it will help us do the right thing in line with the intentions of those reforms. And whatever then comes up that we haven't planned for, or because of changes in circumstances, we can always walk back and retrace our steps and make corrections. One good thing that Mr. President has done in setting up a presidential committee that worked on this reform is to say, well, you know, I don't want you guys to just come and advise me, recommendations, submit report, take photos, and you go to your different places. He says we have to sit with the government to implement. So we're there, we're not going anywhere. Together with the Nigerian people who have been very supportive, including people that criticize us, they added value to the final outcome. So that engagement process will continue. In fact, we'll expand it even further. And together as a people, we'll be able to implement these laws in a way that will benefit all of us.
Okay, I like the fact that you say you can retrace your steps so that you can make corrections. So it is not cast in stone. And an area that analysts are mainly optimistic about is how the new tax laws would engender economic competitiveness. But do you think these guarantees are far and wide enough to stimulate the desired investment for entrepreneurship? Or do they run the risk of driving businesses underground?
So we were driving businesses underground until now. So one of the major objectives is to now stimulate, facilitate, and encourage businesses, including even informal sector. We want them to formalize and grow so they can become big enough to be able to pay taxes and to also take care of their families. We want Nigerian businesses to become multinationals, operating in different countries and earning dollars and bringing those things back home. Now, the way the law has been designed is to identify the areas where today the tax system is a problem to businesses in terms of setting up new ones and for existing ones to scale up and grow, including areas where we're taxing companies and businesses on their capital. You know, like we have something we call minimum tax. You've made a loss in your business, and we say you must still pay tax, so you have to go and borrow to pay the government. Some of them have to do with withholding taxes where the working capital that the business should use to run their daily operations are tied down in the hand of government. All those issues have now been addressed. So certainly once these laws take effect, businesses will see the concrete impact on their businesses almost immediately. It is not perfect, but it is progress. Beyond that, it would also help Nigerian businesses to be competitive both locally and to be able to compete beyond Nigeria, regionally and globally. We want to be able to attract even headquarter companies from around the world. We want young Nigerians to be able to gain opportunity within the digital economy. Imagine 1-2 million young Nigerians sitting down in Nigeria, different places, earning $1,000, $2,000 a month. That's the objective we have, and we believe that this is possible once we set the right framework for these opportunities. So everyone will benefit at the end of the day once these laws are being implemented.
Yeah, everyone will benefit. So what level of education do Nigerians need that you're going to put out there for Nigerians to understand the tax bills?
A lot of education is needed. This is one of the reasons why we recommended, and we're grateful that Mr. President and the National Assembly approved that the commencement date be pushed forward till January. So that gives us 6 months. The reason is because the scale of these reforms require that we prepare. And Nigeria is a very big country with diversities and a lot of differences that you have to take into account. So that whole process, we have prepared and develop our plan already for implementation even before the bills were signed today. So we are good to go almost like immediately. But we also call on other stakeholders. Some of them are professional bodies. Some of them are the organized private sector. Some of them even the media as well, like what we are doing now, to help us in this education, radio, in different languages, social media, what channels, whatever it is. Even going to associations, market women, market men, Okada riders, whatever it is, any Nigerian needs to know. But the good news also is that for most of the people that are hard to reach, what we're actually just telling them is, you know what, you no longer need to pay taxes. So that's an easier conversation to have for those people. So overall, we will communicate, we would engage, and we believe that Nigerians will embrace these reforms.
We've already started with you in the studio this evening.
Yes.
Tayo Oyedele, Chairman, Presidential Committee on Fiscal and Tax Reforms. Thank you so much, as usual, for coming on Network News and shedding light on the tax reform.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you. Thanks for your time. We'll take a break. When we return, there's more on NTA Network News. Don't go away. You're welcome back. President Bola Tinubu has described the Nigerian civil service as not just the backbone of government, but the very essence of it, affirming that his administration will continue to prioritize the welfare and development of civil servants. The president made this remark while declaring open the first international civil service conference organized by the Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation. Haman Japani tells us more.
Civil servants are believed to play a critical role in the implementation of government policies, maintaining stability and driving the day-to-day functions of government institutions. Without a strong, professional and motivated civil service, no government policy, no matter how well designed, can be effectively executed or sustained, as their relevance remains central to the success and continuity of governance across all sectors. It is in recognition of this vital role that President Bola Tinubu acknowledged civil servants as essential to the nation's progress.
And your leadership and stakeholders, your roles remain crucial and integral in modernizing and fortifying the civil service for generations yet unborn. Your vision aligns with our Renew Hope agenda, a comprehensive roadmap for building a secure, inclusive, and prosperous Nigeria. At the heart of this agenda is a public service that works efficiently and effectively for every Nigerian.
So we are looking towards partnering with as many as are ready to add value to the reforms that are ongoing.
The conference is having 5,000 participants from Europe, America, and Africa. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
Now, Vice President Kashim Shettima is at Addis, capital of Ethiopia, after arriving the country earlier today. The Vice President is on official visit to the country at the invitation of the Prime Minister of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, Dr. Abiy Ahmed Ali. He was received by the Ethiopian Minister Foreign Affairs, Dr. Gideon Timotheus. Vice President Shettima will participate in the official launch of Ethiopia's Green Legacy Program, a flagship environmental initiative. The program designed to combat deforestation, enhance biodiversity, and mitigate the adverse effects of climate change targets the planting of 2 billion tree seedlings over a 4-year period. In line with strengthening bilateral ties in agriculture and industrial development, the Vice President will also embark on a strategic tour of key industrial zones and integrated agricultural facilities across selected regions of Ethiopia. Nigeria and Ethiopia share a robust history of bilateral engagement with notable collaborations in area of military support, regional peacekeeping, and economic partnership. And to other news now, the Senate has confirmed President Bola Tinubu's appointees for 3 regional development commissions and those for Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The confirmations include the board of the South-South Development Commission to be chaired by Chibudo Muche, the South-West Development Commission by Senator Olubunmi Adetunbi, while North Central Development Commission has Cosmas Ati as chairman. Additionally, Thompson Oludari was confirmed as managing director and Kabir Katata as executive director of the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, NDIC. Senate has passed for first reading bill seeking the establishment of National Security Trust Fund. This came on the heels of a resolution of the Senate urging authorities to provide adequate protection for troops fighting insecurity. Lawmakers mourned the death of some security personnel who died in the course of repelling an attack in Niger State.
Urge the federal government to collaborate and engage with foreign influences to develop modern ways of fighting insecurity with the use of technological and scientific means to save and protect the lives of our patriotic officers.
That we stand by our men, our gallant men and women in uniform who are working day and night to protect our lives, to safeguard the territorial integrity of our nation, our sovereignty.
Senate also paid tribute to the late Professor Aminu and late Cornelius Adebayo, calling on government to immortalize them. Meanwhile, The Senate Committee on Judiciary has screened nominees for the position of Chairman and Commissioner of the Nigeria Law Reform Commission.
What do you think has been the challenges that are militated against the ability of the Commission to function optimally?
The reality is that very many of our laws are obsolete. Indeed, there are laws that still operate in this country that are colonial era laws.
The nominees were tasked to be diligent when confirmed. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has declined to sign into law the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA Amendment Bill 2025. The president's later refusing assent to the legislation was read on the floor of the House of Representatives by Speaker Abbas Tajuddin at Thursday's plenary. National Assembly correspondent Mitere Ikpen tells us more.
President Bola Tinubu, in his letter, explained that the NDLEA Amendment Bill seeks to empower the agency to retain a portion of proceeds from drug-related crimes. This move, the president notes, contradicts existing financial regulations.
Currently, all proceeds of crime must be paid into the confiscated and forfeited properties account. In addition to this, payments to the relevant organization responsible for recoveries can only be made by the President, subject to the approval of the Federal Executive Council and the National Assembly. There is no compelling reason to change the current process, which promotes transparency as it involves executive and legislative oversight.
Sequel to motions of urgent public importance, the House passed resolutions calling on the Ecological Fund Office to address the menace of flooding and gully erosion in Kano and Imo states, as well as the need to light up some communities in Anambra State. 20 bills were introduced at first reading. They include the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act Amendment Bill 2025, as well as the Minerals and Mining Act Amendment Bill 2025. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Let's bring you up to speed with other news. Building and revitalizing economic fortunes of the nation through the provision of critical infrastructure will continue to receive the topmost priority of the administration. President Bola Tinubu stated this in a message delivered by the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, at the inauguration of the Kubo Bus Terminal. Onoze Yakubu reports.
The inaugurated Kubo Bus Terminal is expected to serve as an inter- and intra-transportation hub of the FCT that will accommodate high volume of commuters, thereby enhancing seamless movement. Stakeholders say the terminal will also address the challenge of coping with unauthorized and chaotic transportation system experienced in the past by commuters flying FCT.
You don't need to be watching on the road. So I don't have one chance. You don't know the vehicle that will convey you. Here you come into this place. You are sure of the vehicle, you are sure of the driver.
The decision of my administration to prioritize high-impact transportation infrastructure, among which is this bus and taxi terminal, is premised on the undeniable fact that no nation around the world has been recorded to have made any noticeable progress without modernization and expansion of its critical public mobility and public utilities.
A similar bus terminal was inaugurated in the Mabushi district of Abuja. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
Aba traders are experiencing financial respite courtesy Credit Corps initiative. The Nigerian Consumers Credit Corporation has introduced an accessible loan scheme with a 2% interest rate, easing credit burdens. 8 traders have already tapped into the program, with more expected to benefit. Kelechi Okata reports.
The Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, Credit Corps, a federal government development financial institution, is simplifying access to consumer credit, with traders in 28 states across 224 markets benefiting from the initiative. Representative of the Managing Director, Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, Aisha Abdullahi, says the initiative aims to empower 1 million Nigerians, including those in Aba, by creating new opportunities for business growth.
All of us know how difficult it is to borrow money in Nigeria today. When you go to some banks, they ask for collateral, they tell you to fill 100 pages of forms, and then by the time that you are done, you don't even want the money again, or you don't need the money again. But you see, our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a man who knows that if you empower a woman, men don't get jealous. But if you empower a woman, you have empowered the whole nation.
A partner in the project, Managing Director Saitiamo Michael Oba, is optimistic that the program will remove market and policy barriers, boosting financial inclusion and economic empowerment in the commercial city.
When they credit you for a loan of 2%, you will know that we are not discussing politics. We are saying, how can you use loan to help yourself?
Beneficiaries have praised the intervention as a significant step forward.
I apply 1 million, just little thing, BVM, and one collateral. I got 500,000 today. Because of that, I'm happy.
Established in April 2024, the ongoing financial intervention program is already making a positive impact. In Aba, Kelechi Okata, NTA News.
Meanwhile, about 100 women have benefited from the Consumer Credit Loan for Women, recently launched to enable them obtain locally assembled tricycles in Port Harcourt. Now, this is part of the Renewed Hope Agenda initiative of President Bola Tinubu, tagged Queen Rider Program. Ijeoma Ubweke has the details.
Nigeria Consumer Credit Corporation, Credit Corp, Simba, TVS, Action Microfinance, and Gamma Mobility are partnering in the Live Better Now program, a consumer credit for women, to access locally assembled tricycles, this bringing the future of 100 beneficiaries. They were selected based on their entrepreneurial spirit and low-income background. This is one of the many ways President Tinubu is impacting lives of women in Nigeria through the Queen Rider program. Managing Director, Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, Uzoma Waba, says the launch of the initiative has become necessary to unlock more opportunities in every state for women to contribute meaningfully to the growth of their homes and the society.
And this is even just a start. But they are focused on women in particular and putting them in this high employment, high productivity economy is so that they are able to be empowered and also empower their communities.
These women came together under one of our partners, which is Gamma Mobility, and they've done an appraisal of them that they have the capacity to pay back. And then we have a financial partner that we gave the money to give to them, Action Microfinance Bank.
We've created like a flexible payment structure for them. We made sure that whatever it is they will be earning on a daily basis, because they earn daily, we've made sure that whatever repayments they will be making will be less than 33% of whatever they make on a daily basis as repayments back to us for the tricycles which they are getting. And they will make these payments for a period of 2 years, after which the keke becomes their own.
And you know, it has always been about men, but here we have women doing the things that we feel men only should be doing. So I'm really excited.
I'm happy. I'm promising them as they give us the keke, any loan, anything, they are going to pay it back.
Organizers say the Queen Rider program is a resolute proclamation by the federal government to promote mobility and empowerment of women across the 36 states of the Federation. In Port Harcourt, Ijeoma Ubweke, NTA News.
Indeed, empower women and the whole home will be stable. And for more on Network News, let's join Adiola in our Lagos Network Center. Adiola, hi.
Thank you, Jumai. With continued emphasis on engineering, research, development, and innovation, coupled with actionable policies from government, Nigeria has the potential to transit to a knowledge-based economy, which is the future of socio-economic development of any nation. This affirmation came from this year's Nigeria Academy of Engineering's Technology Dinner Night, where prototypes of outstanding innovations were recognized. Larry Belay completes the report.
This is a gathering to celebrate innovation and unwavering commitment to engineering, which will drive entrepreneurship and technological advancement in Nigeria. Celebrating these Nigerians that went beyond borders, the president of Nigerian Academy of Engineering says they represent the promise of a brighter, technological-driven future that must be encouraged at every facet.
Some we need some other aspects of registration and all that. Some of them we need patency. So all these advisory things will now be supplied by other committee of the academy to make sure that they don't just stop at this and to be able to get down to becoming big.
This year's innovations ranged from three-dimensional printing filament from PET bottles to smart solar inverter management system.
Criteria we used in evaluating all the entrants was innovativeness. The second one was relevance to the society. The third one was how much intellectual action went into it.
10 outstanding innovators were recognized for their creative and indigenous prototypes.
The good thing that we are trying to recognize people who are solving problems. These are technological problems because the organization we are deals with technology.
Nigeria must take its true place, not just a giant on paper, but a true giant.
Founded in 1997, the Nigerian Academy of Engineering serves as a think tank for promotion and advancement of science, engineering, technology, and innovation in the country and in the diaspora. In Lagos, Larry Bilayi, NTA News.
And that's it from Lagos. The news will continue with Jumai in Abuja.
Thanks for rejoining us. The Think Nigeria First version, being championed by President Bola Tinubu, can form the basis for national prosperity, especially when initiatives that can move it from the realm of national consciousness to becoming the soul of industries are in place. Nigeria's First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, expressed this optimism during an engagement with the resident representative of the United Nations Development Programme, Elsie Atafua, in her office. State House correspondent Adeni Taiwo has more on these and other engagements of the First Lady.
It is a day practically dedicated to the United Nations agencies in Nigeria by Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu, beginning with the visit of the resident representative of United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, Elsie Atafua, to our office. Youth and women empowerment, as well as social investment, two key areas of our interventions, have caught the attention of UNDP. And the agency is here to strengthen our hands with a new initiative tagged Made in Nigeria, designed to promote Nigerian brand and innovation among the 40 million Nigerians who are into small and medium-scale enterprises.
We are now creating what we are calling universities innovation pods. It's simply a space where we have machines in there. We have prototype machines, computers that can help with design thinking. We have collaborative spaces where somebody in the Institute of Sociology with an engineer can come together to collaborate. We want to do 36 of them in 36 months in 36 states. And we are on course to do about 8 of them by end of September.
Commending UNDP for the Made in Nigeria initiative, the First Lady says RHI is productively engaging Nigerian youths and will continue to work with partners to further energize them.
I hear you about, the trade export lab in schools, university spaces, and communities and connecting opportunities with potentials. That's great. I would love to partner with you. And whenever you think you can be of assistance, we're ready to work with you. My office is quite flexible.
The First Lady had earlier granted audience to the outgoing country representative of the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, Christian Munduati, for an emotional farewell. She thanked the outgoing country representative for loving Nigeria, noting that their joint effort in promoting birth registration in the country has provided the right foundation for nurturing and protecting Nigerian children.
I'm glad to understand now that it really did affect the number of birth registrations. And we are not going to stop there. Nigeria is going through a lot of transformation now. We are hopeful, and I heard you clearly, that the future is today with the children.
Your lead in terms of child marriage, female genital mutilation, and nationwide on birth registration have really made a dramatic change in many of the states in the country, mainly in birth registration, where we have accelerated so much the coverage.
Emotional embrace gave way to a warm handshake as she bade similar farewell to the outgoing country director of Joint United Nations Programs on HIV/AIDS, UNAIDS, Dr. Liu Zikeng, who she thanked for UNAIDS support towards the launch of the Free to Shine triple elimination campaign in the country.
It takes courage to embark on what you've done, and also the willingness to contributing in such a way that in this beautiful country, no baby is born with HIV, syphilis, and hepatitis.
Dr. Zekeng's 3-year stint in Nigeria marks the end of his 40 years engagement with the United Nations. In the State House, Adeni Itaiwo, NTA News.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Time now to join Francisca for the latest in the world of sports. Francisca?
Thank you, Jumai. Welcome to Sports Update. Members of the IBB International Golf and Country Club Abuja have saluted FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and the Board of Trustees of the club, led by Justice Monica Dongba-Mensem, for their efforts to reopen the club after months of being closed for renovations and a leadership crisis. The members say the minister's intervention has restored the desired peace to the club, whilst also bringing about the longer-awaited facelift of the facility. President of the Nigeria Golf Federation and member of the club's BOT, Otumba Olusegun Ronshewe, has also joined the members in commending the effort of the minister, just as he expressed optimism that the facility will soon be reopened to golfing activities. In the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup, the knockout phase has commenced, with 6 rounds of 16 matches officially announced, promising fans thrilling encounters between some of the world's elite clubs. Inter Milan triumphed over 10-man River Plate with a 2-0 victory, securing the top position in Group E, and will now face Brazil's Fluminense. Monterrey finished second in the Group E, is set to challenge Germany's Borussia Dortmund. Both teams are eager to make it to the quarterfinals and showcase their prowess on the international stage. Meanwhile, Portuguese powerhouse Benfica is scheduled to meet Premier League's Chelsea in another last 16 match on Saturday, which is anticipated to be closely contested. Currently, matches show Manchester City leading Juventus 5-2, and Wydad SC and Al Ain are leading with 2-1.
So much now to the result of our tonight. We asked you which sector from a list that we provided do you think the federal government should prioritize investments for the remaining quarters of 2025. The responses we got shows that 25% of you prioritize boosting local production and reducing food imports, with agriculture and food security leading the way. And that's NTA Network News for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I am Jumai Yusuf.